lot of things kind of changing in my life at the moment, and I wanted to record this video when I had an update on a couple of things, but it looks like I'm not going to get an update for another couple of weeks, if not months. So I'm just going to record this video and tell you all the stuff I can, and then maybe just make an update if I get news on any of the other things. So the first thing that I wanted to say is that I enrolled in college. I never finished college. I don't have a bachelor degree, so I was really lucky that I got a job in the company that I currently work for at the time that I did, because at the time there were so many jobs open and a bachelor degree wasn't really that important. But in 2008, the recession hit, and a lot of people became unemployed, and people with like PhDs were applying for jobs that they were really overqualified for just because they couldn't get anything else. So like every company was like, well, why? I've got a guy with a PhD here. Why would I hire someone with no bachelor degree? And now, like 10, 11 years later, that's still the case. And I changed jobs 2 years ago within my company, but it took me like a year and a half to find this job because I was recommended by a colleague that I had worked with in my previous team. And my team really values, like they prefer to hire people who are recommended by someone that already works there because they trust their opinion. But everyone else that I applied for jobs with didn't know me and wouldn't even give me an interview because I had no bachelor degree. Now, my manager, when I met him 2 years ago, he said, you know, I know what you can do. I know you're really good at your job. He said, but the sad reality is that you can't get ahead in this company if you don't have a bachelor degree. He said, I only got my degree a few years ago myself. He said, and so many doors opened for me, and I was told the same. He said, you need one if you want to progress. He said, and like 4 years later, I became a manager. He said, so as much as I think it's just a piece of paper, the business world these days doesn't. So, and it is something that I wanted to get personally as well. It's just, I've never felt ready for it, and it's very expensive to do as well. So I figured this was kind of a good time for me to do it. Is it raining? I don't know. This might be a good time for me to do it because I'm in a pretty flexible job now. You know, I work from home, which saves me like a 45-minute to hour commute. So basically when I log off work, I can just study. At least that's the plan, but hasn't quite worked that way yet. So that's the first thing. I don't know how busy that's going to keep me. I'm doing it in distance learning, and it's a flexible, what's the English word? Trajectory or something like that. Or path. I can basically, it can take me 3 years, it can take me 10 years. I can take as many classes as I want per year, which I think is really great. I'm just going to take it slow the first year and see how far I get. But here's the problem. I'm a procrastinator. I always have been, and I don't know whether it's just the month of January because it's been so dark, and like the month of January seems to last 3 times longer than any other month. I have been feeling really tired and like kind of down, and I have made the effort the last like 2 days to get out of bed in the morning and not in the afternoon. I try to go to sleep earlier. It's not working yet. I'm not sleeping earlier yet, but I'm at least like all my equipment is off earlier. And I've been boxing. I bought like a box game for my Nintendo Switch. It's like a fitness boxing thing. You can set it to daily workout and just box, like following the rhythm on the screen, and I actually really like it. And I think if you're a seasoned, like, working out person, you're gonna think it's peanuts, but for someone whose fitness level is like non-existent, which mine isn't, it's really good for me. And you know what? I do it first thing in the morning before I log on to my computer, before I have breakfast, and it really makes me it really gives me a lot of energy for the rest of the day. It makes me want to do more. So I'm hoping that will help me kind of get back into the swing of things, because I normally try to pre-record a lot of videos so that when something happens, like last week where I had a really bad cold, I can still upload. And in January, it's been like one video at a time. I literally record them the day I'm supposed to upload or the day before, because I can't bring myself to do it sooner. So, and I've been enrolled in college for a month now, and I haven't actually taken a single class yet. I've taken up the classes that I want to take, but I haven't actually followed a lesson yet, and I really need to get into that because I'm off to a really bad start. But I'm hoping now that January's over and I am feeling better, that maybe I can do that. It's also lighter a little bit later in the day. It doesn't get dark really until about 5. All of December and January it was dark at 4, so that's better. I'm also back in my old setup. I'm having a really hard time finding a good setup, because where the other room I record in is the spare bedroom, and it's very dark in there. Like, the window is by the bed, is next to the bed, so I can't reach it. And I have a ring light, but it's really bright, and it has a dimmer, but it's on the lowest setting, and I still find it really bright. So this is my own bedroom. I don't want to move my recording equipment in here because it would get, like, this is the place I sleep. I don't want it to be, like, full of crap. And the other room has a lot more space, so, like, my ring light is in there, my desk, and my green screen. But in this room, I get natural daylight, which is nicer. I have to record during the day, but most days I can manage that. But it has pros and cons. The other room is a lot quieter. It's at the front of the house, where a lot less stuff happens. This room is at the back of the house, and, like, whenever a bird squawks, you can hear it. There's a dog behind me that lives outside 24/7. Poor thing, really. He barks a lot, and when it, like, rains and stuff, you hear it. When my heating comes on, you can hear the boiler, because the kitchen is below this room and the boiler is in the kitchen. So, each room has its pros and cons, but there's not really one room in this house that's ideal to film in. And I kind of like it a little bit simpler and a little bit more natural light. So I'm going to try to film in here again, if I can skip out during the day to do it. So that was the college thing, and then the recording thing. Oh yeah, I am gonna be gone for the whole month of March. I'm going to Spain. I swear, like, I am less in Ireland than I am outside of it. Like, I think last year I wasn't in Ireland for 6 months. I know I wasn't here for 6 months the year before. I think I will manage that this year, but I'm still gonna be gone a lot. But my parents spend the winter in Spain. They rent an apartment from, like, some Belgians that they know. And I always visit them. But they're staying a bit longer this year, so I'm visiting them for a month this year. I don't usually go that long. But because I get to stay with them, it's, I only have to pay for my flights, and it's a really cheap place to, like, eat and drink and shop. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to some nice weather. My mom is posting pictures on Facebook every day of the sun. Like, it's just really sunny there. And it's like 18 degrees degrees at the moment, which in Europe currently for the winter is really good. I am going to try to pre-film as much as I can so that I can upload every time when I'm there. But I'll see how that goes. I actually wanted to say that as well. I would like to do some role plays, but I always have the impression that my role plays aren't that popular. So I don't know if you guys prefer the simple talking videos or if you like seeing role plays. Like, I'm not someone who generally enjoys watching role plays, but there are some that I really, really love. But I prefer the simple videos. But I know that a lot of people really love role plays, and I kind of want to do something for everyone. So, let me know what you guys prefer. I would, really like to know that. Also, I hope that the audio sync issues are now fully fixed. I started using a new editing software which actually auto syncs up the audio and video. So before I was using iMovie because it's free on my MacBook, and I was making like tiny little cuts everywhere to make the start of the audio match up with the start of the video. And then after the last couple of videos I did were out of sync, I looked up tutorials on YouTube on how to properly sync it. And if you use like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, which I'm using now, you can auto sync it. It's like 2 clicks and done. And I was like, what? I thought everyone did it manually. Like, what's going on here? So it should normally be okay now. It's just it's not free, and this is my work MacBook, so I'm not entirely sure how work feels about me having a personal software on there. I know that like I do legally pay for it, but it is my personal license, so I'm not sure how they feel about that, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I also really want to get some new microphones. I love the Blue Yeti, but I think one of the audio channels on my Blue Yeti is failing. Like if I whisper like ear to ear, I feel like one side, I don't know if it may be fixed now, but I did like 2 videos like that, and one side sounded really muffled and the other side sounded clear. And I thought, you know what, I'm done with the Yeti, because I opened my channel well in June, but I officially started like proper working on my channel in July, and this is my 3rd Yeti. I shouldn't buy so many Yetis in like 7 or 8 months. Like, that's just too much. So I've been thinking of buying the Rode NT1 microphones, because a lot of ASMR artists really love them, but they're very expensive. There was a website that I saw them on that had them on sale, or at least I didn't really know it was a sale. They just had them a lot cheaper than everywhere else, and I thought, oh, great, I'm gonna wait until I have enough money together and buy them. And then I looked again recently and they'd gone up, so apparently it was like a January sale and they're no longer that cheap now. I almost have enough money together for one through my Patreon. I'm leaving all that money in that account until I can buy equipment with it, and then I would pay for the second one out of my own pocket. But I always forget that the first 3 months of the year are really expensive for me, and I feel like I'm currently living a little bit above my means. We get paid really early in December because of Christmas, but like really early, and then you have to buy Christmas presents from that money and stretch it really long until the end of January. So pretty much everyone I know is always broke in January. And then in February, my car NCT is due. I don't know what you call it in the US. It's like a road safety check, I guess. Like, you need to bring it in every 2 years, and then once it's 10 years old, every year, and mine is 10 years old, to see that, to get a certificate that it's roadworthy. We get like a disc that due this month, which means I'm gonna have to get it serviced first. And that's not cheap. Like, I drive a Mini Cooper, and I don't bring it to a mini garage, but I've been ripped off by so many garages in Ireland. I finally found a really good one, but they're somewhere between a mini garage and a really cheap garage. So they're not as pricey as an official mini one would be, but they're not cheap either. But they're the only ones I trust with my car because they fixed some major problems that no one else was able to fix. So that is always really expensive. My motor tax is due this month. My car insurance is due next month. And I've been to my dentist 3 times since the new year, and I have to go back another 3 times, which is all just like I'm blowing through my savings like crazy. So the microphones may have to wait until like April or May or something like that. The dentist thing, I mean, I'm 36 years old and I have never had a cavity. Like, I have really good teeth in general, but I developed a small crack in a tooth, and my dentist said that it's so small. He was like, it's a real shame, because he took x-rays and he said if I were to show these to other dentists, they'd be like, those are great teeth, that girl's really lucky. He said you can barely see it, and it's such a shame that you have something like this because your teeth are in perfect condition otherwise. But it's so small. He said, I don't want to do any work on it. He said, I just want to fit like a metal bracket over it to keep the tooth together so that a piece doesn't break off. But my teeth are really, really close together. So he first had to fit a rubber band in between 2 teeth to make space. My God, that took half an hour. Like, it was the smallest rubber band he had, and it would not fit. Like, he had to push really, really hard on my teeth, and it didn't hurt, but he was apologizing profusely because he just couldn't fit it in. Eventually it did, so I had to come back 5 days later. He then fit in the metal bracket. I had to come back 3 weeks later, which was just yesterday, for a checkup, and I was like, look, my cheek has a big gash in it. My top tooth is hurting like crazy. I think this thing is just damaging everything. And he looked at it and said, well, no, it's not like sticking out. He said the gash is probably, I'm a jaw clencher. I do it at night. And he said, apparently jaw clenching comes in waves. He said, you don't do it all the time. He said, but it's probably because there was something in your mouth that it didn't recognize, that your go-to reaction is to clench your jaw at night, and that's what caused the gash. He said, and your top tooth is carrying a lot bigger load now that it's been taken off the lower tooth, so it probably needs some adjustment. And I said, well, I can't chew on the other side because my teeth don't meet. And he was like, what do you mean your teeth don't meet? He said, I've never noticed that before. And I said, I can try as hard as I can. My back teeth on this side do not come together. So he looked at that and he was flabbergasted. He was like, that is extraordinary. He said, that doesn't usually happen. Normally, if people have like a bigger gap on one side, your teeth will always find a way to meet. They will grow longer, they will grow more crooked to be able to meet each other. He said, he said it's not unheard of, but it's extremely rare that someone's teeth don't meet. And I was like, well, there you have it. I actually asked him if it could be that my jaw was misaligned because, I have the whole like crooked face on video and photo. I said, is it possible that it's just not like straight? And he said, no, your jaw is fine. He said, you just tend to naturally move to the left. And I was like, well, that's not helpful. So he wants me to, I have a checkup on the night guard, and then I have to go back like sometime May or June for a cleaning. I swear, aside from the fact that I had braces when I was a kid, I have never been to the dentist more than once a year, and I'm gonna go like 6 times this year. And dentists aren't cheap, so yeah, all of that is coming together in the early stages of this year. So yeah, not great at the moment. I just remembered that I was planning to do some camera brushing, but I'm already 20 minutes in, so I think it's too late now. Sorry about that. I think I'm gonna make like a personal attention video soon and include some camera brushing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna like keep rambling at you guys a little bit about everything and nothing. That's what a ramble is for, I guess. My neighbors have moved out, and I missed it. I don't know how. They were there one day, they were not there the other day. I knew they were moving because the house was for sale, and I saw a sold sign up there, so I thought, okay, they'll be leaving soon. And they had like a big skip out in front of their house where they could like throw all their is this camera straight? Where they could throw like all of their things in that they didn't want to take. And that had been taken away after about a week, so I figured they'd move out by the end of January. But then it was like mid-January, and they were suddenly gone, and I never saw a moving truck. I'm guessing it might have come really early in the morning when I was still asleep. But, oh, there goes the dog. But, yeah, I hadn't seen them for a couple of days, and I was putting out my bin, so our garbage can, garbage, yeah, we call it bin. I was putting out my bin, and so I live in a row of 4 houses. There's like 2 terraced houses, 2 semi-detached. I live in a terraced house, and per 2 houses you share a walkway. So me and those neighbors share a walkway, and we all have a patio out in the back, and I have to take my bin out through the walkway, which goes around their house, and then they have a gate that ends about middle of the walkway, and that's how we all put our bins out in the front. And we have like every 2 weeks they pick up general waste, and then the other 2 weeks they pick up recycle and organic waste. So it's basically, 1 week is general, the other week is recycle and organic. And that week was general. So I took my bin out front, and I saw that all 3 of their bins were out front. And people only do that when they move, because they won't be there to put them out the next week, so they put all of them out. And then once they're all collected, the bin company actually takes the bins with them. So when I saw them, I was like, hang on a second, did they move? And I just missed it. So I looked through their living room window, and it was empty. All their furniture was gone, and I was like, when did this happen? Like, I know them, but I don't know them. I knew her name and one of their children's names, and I always like had a little chat with her when I saw her. But it's not like I really knew them, so they didn't tell me they were moving. And I completely missed the moving truck. I missed them putting stuff in their cars and leaving. They were just gone. And so far, no one has moved in yet. I've seen like stuff being moved into it, and I've seen a car there every now and then, but nobody actually lives there yet. So I really hope that they're quiet neighbors, because they were pretty quiet neighbors. And since I'm home all day, I kind of hope that owners too. I want to briefly talk about this dog as well. So that dog is outside 24/7. And I don't know why, because I used to think he starts barking usually around 7 a.m. and doesn't stop until doesn't stop. He usually barks less in the evening, and then he barks again around like midnight. But he cries all day. I don't know. I just looked out. I don't know if he's there today, but I think I heard him earlier, so he might be. Usually he spends all day crying, and I don't even mind barking so much, but a dog crying, that cuts right through you. And at first I thought that his owners went to work and he cried during the day until they came back. But I've discovered that there's always someone in that house. The wife, at least I think they're husband and wife, the wife is in a wheelchair, and I've seen her in the kitchen, because it's the back of the house, during the day when the dog is outside. And I don't understand why they don't take him in, because he cries all the time. Now, in Belgium, your dog is a pet. You keep him in your house. I've noticed in Ireland that's not always the case. I definitely have Irish friends who go, I don't understand why you don't take your dog in. But a lot of people who live in the countryside, for example, leave their dog outside. And if they have a big space to run and they have a warm nest, then why not, I guess. But we have a patio, and it's not small, but it's not huge. He has a very small dog house. And this summer we had a heat wave where it was like 28 degrees, which is almost 90 Fahrenheit, which for Ireland is unheard of. Like, we were melting. And I was looking out my window, and he was crying, and he was staring up at me with his drink bowl in his mouth, and it was empty. And I was raging. I was like, it is melting out here. Why are you leaving your dog outside? It's very possible that he drank it all or even threw it over in like a fit of rage, but like it wasn't humane to leave him out with no water when it was that hot, especially because there's someone home all day. And I really feel for that dog. And there's nothing really that I can do about it. I've spoken to friends about it. I was like, can I call the guards, which is the Irish police? And they're like, they're not going to do anything about it. And I said, well, can I call the SPCA? And they said, well, they can't do anything about it because he's in a locked area. And I don't want to be that person either. I don't want to call the police on someone else's dog. But it's been years, and everyone complains about him. I know I've received a letter before saying that there's been a lot of complaints about dogs making too much noise during the day, and could you please make sure that your dog is quiet? And we all knew who that was directed at, but it's like 3 years ago and nothing's changed, and I feel really bad for that dog. But I don't think there's anything I can do about it. I don't understand why you have a dog and then keep it outside all day, especially in an area like this. It's a housing estate. There's a lot of people around. They obviously know he barks and cries. Wouldn't you, for the sake of your neighbors, keep him in? Like, I've heard people, there was once a guy who literally yelled out the window, shut your dog up. Like, he was so mad, and they just don't do anything about it. So I feel really bad for that dog. And equally, I now have a cat problem. There's a lot of stray cats in this estate. And there's this cat. I'm not entirely sure she's a stray. She's not wearing a collar, but she is like, she gives 0 bucks. She's been sleeping outside my front door. Every time I open my door, she's there, but the problem is she blocks my door, so I can't leave my house or enter my house, and she refuses to move. I will be yelling at her to go away, and she'll lift up her head and be like, what? And then she'll just lie back down, and I'm like, oh, seriously, I feel like I'm at a battle of wills with this cat, and I'm losing. made like a little mixture of essential oils and sprayed it. I've been using a lot of peppermint oil on some pieces of kitchen towel that I stuff under the mat. And it seems to help. I haven't seen her well, she still walks around, but I haven't seen her outside my door in a while. But I don't know when that started happening. This cat has been walking around the estate for a long time, but since, like, I'm guessing it might have been right before Christmas, she's just started sleeping outside my door. And I wouldn't mind if she would go away once I open my door, but she just won't move. And that's why I wonder if she's a stray cat, because she is so not afraid of humans. She's just lottie-dying. So yeah, I've not. The dogs and the cats in this estate are something else. I think that's kind of it for what I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't really know what else. As I said, I'm kind of waiting. There's a lot of changes happening at work, and I'm kind of waiting for some updates there about what is going to happen with me. Not in a bad way, but if I'm going to like move on or not. But I'll make a separate update about that. If you made it to the end of this video, well done you. Please do let me know what kind of videos you prefer to see. The simple whisper videos like show and tells and stuff are much easier for me to make, but I would love to invest some time in role plays if that's what you guys want to see. And just kind of what type of role plays as well. I sometimes get requests, but some of them are very specific, and I can't always do those because I don't think anyone else would like them. Because they're like really, I don't know, they're really specific. So just in general, like what kind of role plays do you want to see? And yeah, do let me know that. I think that's it.